Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine, and it's a Deep Purple unboxing video. I saw recently that Now Spinning Magazine and Deep Purple is actually a search phrase on YouTube. So I suppose many of you know that Deep Purple are one of my favourite bands of all time. I've covered many of their releases in depth kind of videos looking at all the different variants and versions of my love and story about the album. This isn't that video. I'm going to do one of those on Machine Head another time. This is purely looking at this, the Deep Purple Machine Head Super Deluxe Edition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you inside this box so you can see exactly what you're going to get. Then after that I'm going to talk about what I feel about the execution of the design, the box set itself, and then finally I'm going to talk about what does it sound like, what is the remix actually like, how does it compare to other versions. So let's dive in, and the first part of this video, look inside the box. So this is a look at the Machine Head Super Deluxe Edition. It's a 5-disc anniversary edition. It says Deep Purple 50 on the front, but obviously this came out in 1972. We're now in 2024 at the time of me doing this. So it's not the 50th anniversary as such. However, it includes a gatefold LP, 3 CDs and a Blu-ray, Purple Smoke vinyl album, new remix by Dweezil Zappa on LP and CD, new remaster from original analog master on CD, previously unreleased live CD from Montreux 1971, 1972 in concert live recording on CD, Blu-ray audio featuring new Atmos remix by Dweezil Zappa, 1974 US quad mix, 5.1 mixes, booklet with new essay from Rolling Stones Corey Grow, and photos from recording session and a lyric poster. So on the back of the box is a picture of the band and all the track listings. In this section of the review, I'm only going to show you the physical format and unbox this set itself. I shall do, as I said at the start, a review of the package afterwards and what I think of it, and then the music afterwards. So this is just to show you what's inside the box. So I'll show you the booklet first of all. It's a softback booklet, and it just says Deep Purple Machine Head with a picture of the band on the front. On the side, some of you will recognise these pictures from previous releases, and some of these pictures may be new to you. So the text itself is all new, it's all being rewritten especially for this release. Paper stock is really nice, lots of information. Colin Hart, great book by him as well, by the way, if you want to read it. He was part of the road crew, has done this section. Pictures from the band at the time. There's a little section here from Bruce Dickinson. Picture of the Rolling Stones mobile. Full history, the handwritten lyrics for Smoke on the Water, and here they are being written as well. Over this side, see Martin Birch and Richie Blackmore. Some great pictures here from the band recording in the hotel. Poster from the press release for Machine Head. Some little clips as well from Sir Tim Rice. Corey Grow's essay comes to an end there. Some of these pictures I know really well, but some of you they may be new. And also from Dweezil, who a lot of these pictures are from him, and he's also got a fantastic book on Deep Purple. It's quite expensive, but it's absolutely essential if you're a Purple fan. Obviously, Smoke on the Water, what it was all about. Dweezil Zappa talks about the remix, and I'll touch on that when I do the end part of the review. And then we've got some pictures of different releases of Machine Head, different variants from around the world, and also the singles as well from Never Before. And then a full credit listing on the inside back, with all the track listings and remasters by Andy Pierce, which is a 2024 one, and Matt Wortham. And on the back a picture that I'll admit I hadn't seen before outside a hotel in Switzerland. The album itself looks exactly like the gatefold sleeve that we all know and love, but it's not, because when you open it up you've got the discs, the CD part of the of the box set on the right hand side, and this nice purple effect on the inner sleeve as well, because again this is a new release and a new edition. So unlike the discs just being plopped in as they normally are on these kind of sets, each disc comes in its own little case with the track listings on the back. The only one that's different is the Blu-ray, which also comes with a protective inner sleeve as well. The rest of the CDs don't. And the vinyl comes in a polyline sleeve, hurrah, which, as you know, of Now Spinning Magazine, this is essential part of the kit, and smoky purple vinyl. And the last part of the box is the original lyric sheet, which many of you will know was included with the original vinyl. And here it is on purple with white text. I think a lot of them were white with purple text at the time. So that is a look at the actual box itself for Deep Purple's Machine Head, the Super Deluxe Edition. So that's a look inside the Deep Purple Machine Head Super Deluxe Edition box set. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think about the execution. Now, with any box set like this, there is always the conversation going on forums, behind the scenes, in social media about missed opportunities. And that could be with anything that's ever released. There's always somebody somewhere that's going to say, why didn't they ask X, Y, and Z? So yes, potentially there are missed opportunities. But I think we have to stand back and think as fans what we're getting and how it fits in and our enthusiasm for it. You can probably tell from my voice that I'm excited about this. I'm excited about telling you about it, but I'm going to be honest about some of the things that I feel could have been done better. However, could they have been done better, or is it just because I'm such a massive Deep Purple fan that I wanted even more bells and whistles? So you've seen the size of the box, you've seen what it's like. I think the price point for what it is, we're now in 2024, is probably, you know, what you'd expect for a multi-format box. And I know some people out there are going to say, I don't want the vinyl. I just want the CDs, or I want the Dolby Atmos or the remix, or I just want the vinyl. These multi-format sets are becoming more popular. I'm multi-format man, as you know. And I think they are because they give us an insight into just the world of the release and bring everything together for the romance of the vinyl and the practicality sometimes of the CD and the Blu-ray in this case as well. It's a box set that represents one album. It's not a box set, there's a catalogue. And there are various different ways of doing this. Obviously, if it's multi-format, they're going to be album size. And I reviewed before Christmas the Mott the Hoople or the Young Dude set, which you can see is huge. And those of you who watched that video know that this came with a massive hardback book. And Esoteric also do these kind of multi-format sets, which come with like the CDs in a separate fold-out gatefold sleeve rather than putting them in with the actual album itself. And also with these kind of multi-format sets, you can also have the book design like the doors, where the album is in the inner sleeve and the discs are at the back of the set. This box set follows the design of Fleetwood Mac's Rumours and the Fleetwood Mac Deluxe sets. It's very, very similar. The vinyl album is in there with the CDs on the one side and also the softback booklet as well. So it follows that design. Now, it's a softback book. Because I'm such a huge Deep Purple fan, you feel that something as iconic as Machine Head, that maybe the booklet could have been bigger. Why didn't they ask Simon Robinson? Simon! You know, what happened? Or Jerry Bloom is another two people that could have come across and probably written thousands of words, and it would have been a massive hardback book perhaps. But we have to take into account, whereas the other box sets I've just shown you, they've only appeared, those albums have only been represented once in a reissue programme. Machine Head has reappeared several times over the years. And so I think the people behind this know that many of the target audience have already got this album several times over. Now, I'm probably a little bit OCD about Machine Head, as you can tell. And I started all those years ago as a school kid with the cassette version before moving into vinyl albums, of which there are even some lying on the table. There's so many of them. And then CD. And there was the the Roger Glover remix version, wasn't there? And then, of course, there was the SACD version, which had the quad mix on. And then there was the 40th anniversary edition, which was only on CD, which came with multiple sets. I'll go through these in a separate video, and came with a rather spiffing hardback book in there as well. So what they probably didn't want to do was replicate things that already existed. So if you've got any of the things I've just shown you, the sleeve notes, the booklets are unique to those releases. Which brings us to this one. So everything that's in it, as the package is concerned, is unique. The booklet, some of the pictures you've seen before, but all of the text has been rewritten now, in the moment of how people view the album now, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, the actual package itself, if I just move out some of my other copies of Machining out of the way, because they're everywhere, you've seen that the CDs are on the right-hand side of the gatefold sleeve. And you've got on the one, which I'm going to talk about, I'm coming up to the music now for those of you who are getting impatient. It's coming soon. You've got the 2024 remix and you've got the 2024 remaster. We've had various remasters over the years. And you've also got Deep Purple Concert 1972. Now, this has been released several times. Initially, it wasn't that exciting when it was part of... Careful what you say, Phil. Some people will say, yes, it was. When it was part of this set, it was exciting, but it sounds much better when it was remixed in 2012, which was this version. So the version you get in this set is that version. It's also on vinyl separately when it came with a single of Maybe I'm a Leo's for the soundcheck, but now it is also included in this set like it was in the 40th anniversary edition, but it's in this set as well. If you're a Deep Purple fan, you've already got that, I know. But if you're new and you're starting off on this path, you get access to a live album that is only a smidgen, a notch down from Made in Japan. And this was like Machine Head coming out, for the first time before it was out, in fact, and that you've got the interplay, the musicianship is just fantastic, and you've got the DJ introducing the tracks. It's BBC in concert program, but it's absolutely amazing. But it's not new to anyone else who's already been collecting or following the path of Machine Head. What is new is Montreux 71. This is new. This has not existed anywhere else. Now, my thought was, especially when it says, every effort has been made to produce the best possible audio using non-standard limited source material. All tracks have been included for historical acceptance. That worries the hell out of me, because as you know, I can't do bootlegs. Even if it's my favourite band, like audience recordings that are really dodgy, because my ears won't adapt and I've got no interest. Even if it includes a track that's never been released anywhere else, I just don't do bootlegs. So I have to say, I was thinking 50 plus years later, someone finds this or thinks, why haven't you would have put this out before? Surely perhaps it was going to be part of the Deep Purple live series that got cancelled a few years ago. So I put this on expecting to think it's just there because they needed something to stick in the box. I was pleasantly surprised. I really was. I made some notes on this. It's a bit rough when it starts, I guess, but it's actually really good recording. It's not an official release, but it's as good as anything that was part of that live series. What was the other one from 71? I can't remember. It was the American concert, wasn't it? It's that kind of sound quality. And to me, it's very listenable, and my ears just don't do dodgy recordings. So I think they've put that on the bottom to say, to cover themselves, really, but it isn't a bootleg. Yes, I guess it's a bootleg because it's not been released before, but it's not an audience recording. It's really well balanced. Speed King, Strange Kind of Woman, Into the Fire, Child in Time, Paint It Black, Ring That Neck, Black Knight and Lucille, and a bit of yodeling at the beginning. I want to mention a bit more about this because the guitar playing, Richie Blackmore on this is on fire. He's one of my favourite guitarists, as you know. Well, he's my favourite guitarist, and I've been listening to him all my life. But the guitar playing on Strange Kind of Woman, which is a track I have multiple versions of, his playing on that is jaw-dropping. And Into the Fire is brilliant. And Child in Time, this is that period in Child in Time when there was a guitar solo and then John Lord did a solo and then we went back to a guitar solo. So the song is a lot longer. And I would say the recording is on par, you know, with some of the other recordings from this period that were put out officially. I think that I really, really enjoyed that. And it is something I will play again and again. The guitar playing and John Lord, that's what the essence of Deep Purple is, Blackmore and Lord, especially in this period. And that to me, I was absolutely over the moon. Maybe my expectations were really low, but absolutely fantastic. We've also got the Blu-ray audio, which includes the 2024 Atmos remix and the US Quad remix. Now, the US Quad remix has been included before. It's in this set, so if you bought that, you've got it. If you bought the SACD, you've got it. And some people have said, it says 5.1 mixing, but there's only 3 tracks. That always was. They've basically taken the same recordings as was, you know, so When a Blind Man Cries, Maybe I'm a Leo, I'm Lazy. But the US Quad mix, the Quad mix is very interesting. I really like it. Always have. But if you've already got it, it's exactly the same, okay? So that brings us to the bit that you all want to know about, which is the Dweezil Zappa even remix, isn't it? So what was this like on the Smoky Purple vinyl album? Because that's what I played first. And it came in a polyline sleeve. Big tick from Now Spinning Magazine for that. The remix. Now, I'd heard Smoke on the Water, but I'll cover that as I go through the tracks. Highway Star starts. I know this so well. I've been with this track since I was 14, I think, which is a fair time ago. I think I first heard this album in 1973, early 1973, so when I first heard it. And hearing the remix, it's very different. In fact, it's so different vocally, I actually wondered whether they'd found another vocal take by Ian Gillan. The twin lead, the guitar, is kind of more precise. There are screams at the end, which there weren't on the original. There's more bass. The drums are clearer. The chorus sounds different. When I say also the kind of chorus on the Leslie sound that John Lord has, kind of this happens throughout a lot of the tracks, where there's like a decay on that kind of sound of the Hammond, and it kind of sweeps underneath some of the other instrumentation. It's very dynamic. If Machine Head is this wide, bear with me, it now feels like it's like this. You know, Richie Blackmore is really in that. As I'm staring at my hi-fi in the left-hand speaker, I can hear every touch of the plectrum on the guitar, all his chord work. John Lord is over here, perfectly replicated. In the middle is Roger Glover is louder than before. The drums are more powerful, and Gillan is further forward in the mix. It's very, very different, and it was amazing. And I have to say, I'll be honest, at this point in time, as my first run through, it was almost as if the track was racing away from me as a listener, because my brain was pulling back all my memories of Machine Head, what I know, and the only other version of Machine Head that I've kind of played over the years is Roger Glover's remix. I love Roger Glover's remix. So, in fact, that's probably the one I go to the most. And because knowing that Roger Glover had remixed it, you always think that, well, he must have been aware of all these extra sections that were there. But was he kind of being cautious, thinking you can't tamper with something as sacred as Deep Purple's Machine Head album? And he was just cautious and just let the faders run so that we heard how the tracks naturally came to an end when they faded out in the original album. And he didn't want to touch any of this. And of course, Dweezil Zappa must have thought, no, this is lurking there amongst the undergrowth. Let's go and have a look and see what happens if we push that across. So that was Highway Star. Maybe I'm a Leo. The guitar's more separate. There's more stereo, as I've said, it's wider. There's also a kind of a clearer emphasis on the tone of his actual guitar picking on the lead lines, which wasn't there before. I put here, it's like music in widescreen. The keyboard solo, there's more reverb. There was reverb on the vocals. Everything's been kind of cleaned up, but it sounds heavier and more powerful, if you like. By now, it didn't take long, did it? By track 3, my ears are adapting, and when Pictures of Home starts, it's just breathtaking to me. It sounds so powerful. I'm putting in my notes 10 out of 10. I just put 10 out of 10. There were kind of flashes of this kind of effect from the keyboards. It's hard to explain. You've got to hear it really. But when you get to that section, the instrumental section here, the guitar solos, and that part when Roger Glover does his bass run, that is in your face. It's so powerful, and that's probably one of the first moments when you think, I'm hearing this in a way that it was meant to be heard. I'm hearing this now using, my modern hi-fi equipment, and I'm hearing this played as if I've been allowed to sit in the studio while the band actually lays it down. That's how I felt. Pictures of Home really, really started to... I just felt like I'd arrived with the remix at this point. And from here on in, and I'll come round in the loop in a second, I was there. Never before. Funk, bass, drums, guitar, more definition. It just sounds great. You can hear the kind of, the movement of Richie Blackmore's palm against the strings. It's just that kind of funky movement as the band, interplay from the band. It's just great. Then we switch over, in my case, at this point on the vinyl, to side 2, and we have Smoke on the Water. It's amazing hearing Smoke on the Water to realise just how much more material, more stuff was hiding in those tracks. 16 tracks. And all of this was on there. There is definitely more keyboards on this. As I read somewhere online, someone say Richie Blackmore might not like the new mix. I think Richie Blackmore would probably love the new mix. John Lord is there, louder than normal. He's especially in the verses. When in Gillan's singing the verses, and Gillan's voice is further forward in the mix, but there's a lot more John Lord. There's a slight echo on the chorus as well, and it's the riff is really powerful, especially when we come round to each time the riff is repeated. Ian also screams on the fade out of Smoke on the Water, and to me, why did they not put that on? There's a keyboard solo at the end, which we always knew from Roger Glover's remix, where he just lets it roll, but this time it just sounds more precise and more like it was meant to be a keyboard solo. There are new vocals as well on this, spoken stuff as well as the screams. It's just incredible. And it did make me think why Roger didn't kind of find this in the mix. In fact, to such a degree, I actually thought, was this kind of brought in from somewhere else? And it's just, we've had some kind of studio magical stuff happen, and it's, the modern use of technology being able to kind of pull this together. Regardless of that, I just absolutely loved that. Lazy's next. It's very live. It's very clear. And I put in my notes, it's never sounded better. Clear vocal, absolutely loves lots of reverb on the harmonica solo. You can hear everything. You can hear absolutely everything. There's kind of a bit of chorus again on the keyboards. This kind of decaying sound on the chords from the Hammond that come in and out of the instrumentation. Again, I'm probably not explaining that as best I can, but it wasn't there on the original. Next, because we're on side 2 of the vinyl, the next track is When a Blind Man Cries, which is odd at first, and when you realise it's actually on the actual album, 4 tracks on each side, but it works so well. It's a stroke of genius to stick this in there, I feel. And this is just amazing. And I always loved Ritchie Blackmore's solo on this. Always did. Remember when it used to be on a part of that Deep Purple, a maxi single. So he used to put it on the pub jukebox. He had Smoke on the Water on one side and When a Blind Man Cries on the other. The solo on this remix is the same solo. It's just out of this world. It's just out of this world. Honestly, it's kind of like, for someone who's followed this band for so long, like I have, to be around now, to be lucky to be around now and hear this, to hear this remix and this track, and to hear Ritchie Blackmore play this heartfelt, melodic solo. And when Ian Gillan gets to that last line, before the end of the last verse, it's just magical. There's a double track, I think, as he sings the last line of the verse. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. And then we have Space Trucking, which is just amazing. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's clear. The vocals soar. The vocals are just right in your face. Brilliant singing from Gillan. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. So as soon as I'd finished playing that, I took the vinyl off and I put on the CD and listened to the remix all over again. And the next time round, my ears were just hearing this, hearing Machine Head for the first time. In fact, Dweezil actually says, I've done a reasonable job. If I've done a reasonable job, I hope everyone who listens to the mixes has a chance to feel as though they're hearing Machine Head for the first time once again. And I think that is what you should do. Don't put it on thinking, carrying all these other versions of Machine Head with you, all these other remasters, because it's the same thing. And I always thought that Machine Head had quite a clinical sound. I never thought it sounded that perfect originally. It sounded very clean and clinical. When I was at school, my mate said that, and I said that. It's why Made in Japan was so powerful with all these live versions from Machine Head, because it really showed you that the studio versions didn't capture what these songs were all about. So it was never the best produced album, I don't feel. I always felt Who Do We Think We Are sounded better, and in rock, etc. And obviously Made in Japan, Burnt, blah. So if you approach this, that you're hearing this album, and that's really hard when you've been carrying it around with your memory banks for decades, but if you listen to Machine Head as if you've never heard it before, you'll be straight in, whereas it took me one route all the way through sides 1 and 2. But when I played it the second time, I just couldn't stop smiling. I just could not stop smiling. And the next place to go had to be the Blu-ray. Because the Blu-ray obviously has the Dolby Atmos version, and I was ready now. And of course I can go from the Dolby Atmos version, I can go to the quad mix as well. And I love the quad mix, as I said earlier, but the Dolby Atmos version, whatever kind of misgivings we may have on this set, and will the Dolby Atmos version be released on its own one day? I don't know, but I certainly wouldn't want to wait for it. It just sounds amazing. This is Dolby Atmos, it's the stereo remix. I just turned up the volume and Highway Star came pounding out, and I could hear Richie Blackmore, I could hear John Lord, Ian Pace drumming, Roger Glover and Ian Gillan's vocals. I was hearing Deep Purple play the songs from Machine Head in my living room in a way that I never thought I would hear it. It's amazing. Does this mean that it deletes or pushes aside all other versions of Machine Head? No, not at all. Not in any way or form does it do that. It is another version of Machine Head to enjoy and have in your collection and absolutely be part of what shall I play. I want to be playing Machine Head. I played the 2024 remaster. There's not that much difference from whenever the last one was. I think the one on here, there's one in between this, isn't there? There was another remaster after this. This was 2012, so that was 10 years on. I know technology moves on, but to me it sounds fine. But to be honest with you, sometimes I play the original vinyl, but most times I play Roger Glover's remix. Should they put Roger Glover's remix in this set as well? Could have done, but most people have already got it. So to me, the original mix, Roger Glover's remix, and this new one from Dweezil Zappa brings everything together. And we get used to remixes by people like Steven Wilson, where he there are kind of slight nuances in the remixes and stuff, whereas this is not. This is like, Mr. Zappa sat down and thought, right then, what we got here? And he basically, he has changed the sound of this album, but he hasn't taken away the spirit of Deep Purple. In some ways, he's actually shone a light on the creative process and the ingenuity and the excitement of these 5 musicians and what they were actually trying to create in the studio in the first place. I think I'll just try and find some parts here what he said. Each member has a discernible sound and style, making the overall sound even more distinct. It's not just the first notes, Richie Blackmore's guitar, John Lord's keyboards that identify the band's music. Ian Gillan's incredible voice, the power and style of the drums and bass delivered by Ian Pace and Roger Glover creates instant recall for the listener. The combination of all these musical skills and personalities is the real reason that Deep Purple is unmistakable and timeless, says Dweezil. To put it in perspective, very few musicians or bands have been able to create a signature sound that is both recognisable in an instant and memorable because of the songwriting and musicianship. The Machine Head record is a testament to this and fully illustrates why Deep Purple made such a global impact on music. So he's gone to all the multi-tracks, 16-track analog glory, and found sounds on each track. For those of you who don't know, the song's recorded live with very few overdubs. Perfect example of this is Space Trucking. There is a single guitar track, a single keyboard track, and a huge sound of that song was the band itself, playing together in the same room, which very rarely happens nowadays. If a classic Aston Martin DB5 was exposed to the elements for a year or two, it would need some careful restoration to bring back every detail of its style and functionality. Working on the Machine Head mixes felt very similar. These songs are classics, but with a little extra polish, new power and details have become audible. I have great respect for Martin Birch's recordings and his mixes, so my thought process was to maintain as much as possible the original spirit of the work, while also extending the range of the low end and bringing some of the extra clarity to the high frequencies. There were also a few occasions where the songs entered new sonic territory. They sure do. That's especially true on Highway Star. But to be fair, this is a brand new version of Machine Head, but everything that you hear has been created by Deep Purple, by this classic Mark II lineup. Richie Blackmore, I think I respect him even more now playing this. Roger Glover, I can hear him more now on these tracks. Ian Pace, and Roger together. What a rhythm section. And John Lord. John Lord is more audible. Maybe Richie was quite, involved in the way the original album was mixed, especially on Smoke on the Water. But John Lord, the brilliance of John Lord can be heard so well here. And Ian Gillan. The phrasing, his voice, it's ahead, he's leading instead of being buried and kind of all following each other. Ian Gillan sounds absolutely incredible. So that is my overview of Deep Purple Machine Head Super Deluxe Edition. I believe this is going to be the first in a series of Deep Purple Deluxe Editions. I hope so. And I think having a remix gives us a different light to listen to this music. And I'm just grateful that it exists. And I'm grateful I've been around to be able to listen to it. So thank you so much, everyone, for staying the course on this video, for all of your support, all your comments. Please subscribe, become a patron, a YouTube member, or you can make a donation via Ko-fi. But remember, music is the healer and the doctor, so keep spinning those discs, no matter what they are. Stay safe, and I shall see you all very, very soon.